Boom. TC. Tonight.
Yep.
The last straw. This is where it ends.
I feel like we've been running for something.
Fuck.
Jeez.
Yeah. No, you and I can't run for anything.
No. To dig up all that dirt. Can't do it.
What skeletons?
None. Everybody, right? Welcome back
to
the last politics show of 2022.
We're not good. We're done after this.
Yeah, we're going back to surfing music.
We're rock and roll, punk rock.
Yeah, we're down.
Even though
he's gonna come with us.
Guest is like, yeah, dude, I'm about over it too.
Let's go to the show.
Yeah.
Everybody, welcome back, Justin Cummings. I think it's your third time now.
Third time
back on the show.
You know what we should have done,
Wow.
TC? We should have just had a band here, and I said, you know what,
You'd
Justin,
be psyched
sit
on
on the
that.
couch, relax. We'll give him some wine and listen to a punk band. What did we didn't think about that?
Did you see the wine tonight, Neil? By
I
the
got
way,
the wine. Yeah, I got the
zoom
wine.
that in on the camera.
I got the wine. Yeah.
We have never had a guest.
I found that, and it says where is it?
Right
Where is
there.
it? Yeah, right there. The Justin wine.
By the way, it's delicious.
Really good.
Yeah, it's a very nice
This
wine.
ain't no cheap shit.
Justin Cummings, you've been council,
Yep.
mayor, hopefully a supervisor for District 3 Santa Cruz.
Yep.
We're going to find out more about this. I know you have a bunch of questions tonight, Neil.
Am I coming over there?
Want to switch it out?
Yeah,
Happy to, yes.
I got questions.
Let's dive into this. Because you're in a pretty heated race right now.
Yep.
Let's just jump right into it.
Yeah.
As most politicians are this 2022. So Neil, get into it.
Would you rather have a heated race or a boring race? Like, I think Fred Keeley's like, he's going to win the damn thing, right? It's pretty boring. Would you rather be in a heated race where it's like, or would you rather be in a boring race? I'm going to get the gig.
Well, I think it's really important that, especially when you have people who are running for office, like, people who are going to be elected and represent you, that you have a choice.
Right.
Right? I mean, like, the last thing that people like is like, I don't really have anybody to pick from. And, I feel like I've worked really hard over the last 4 years. I feel like I've been working really hard over the past year and a half as I've been running this campaign. And people have been seeing how hard we've been working. And that, a testament to that is all the different groups who've endorsed us,
Right.
throughout this race.
Can you give me three groups that have endorsed you that are like pivotal for your success?
So the California State Democratic Party has endorsed our campaign.
Okay.
The Santa Cruz County Democratic Party has endorsed our campaign. Planned Parenthood, Advocates of Marmonte have endorsed our campaign. I'll even go a little bit further to even say that the UCSC Democrats have endorsed our campaign.
Okay.
We also have Santa Cruz for Bernie has endorsed our campaign.
Do they come to you, or did you go to them and go, hey, would you endorse my campaign? Or do they come, a lot of them come to you?
It's a bit of both. It's a little bit of both because
Right.
For some organizations in the community, when they hear that there's a person who's running for office, they say, well, here's our endorsement process if you'd like to be a part of it.
Which is the hardest campaign you had to work for, that after they said yes, it was like a big feather in your cap?
The California and Santa Cruz County Democratic Party.
Yeah?
So
you got that and you were like, you slept good that night.
I did. Yeah. It was close.
Was it close?
Yeah.
Why do you want to do this gig? Why do you want to do this? Yes, you were mayor. Yeah, but this is a different cup of tea. This involves a lot more people, a lot wider accent of our community. Why do you want to do this?
Well,
You seem to be pretty happy. You go to music shows. You got a job. I'm pretty happy. I'm renting. I got to go. Blah 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 blah. Single guy in Santa Cruz. Now you're throwing yourself into the fucking lion's den here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, and the big reason why I want to do it is because I think you touched on it, when you're saying like I'm a renter here in Santa Cruz. It's really challenging for me to live here, and I've seen a lot of the people who are locals who help me feel like this is a place where I belong are gone.
Right.
Right? And so when we think about the funding structure and where funding goes, a lot of the social programs that help people who are low income and who help people out who are down on the luck, a lot of that goes to the county.
Right.
When we think about the funding that goes towards homelessness, that goes to the county. And so being someone who's a renter and being someone who grew up lower middle class, I want to make sure that those dollars are going to the right places, that they're being spent efficiently. And then the next thing I'll say as well, though, is that, we just had one of the biggest fires in the history of our community happen back in 2020 when I was mayor. We saw 900 homes get lost up in, Bonnie Doon, Boulder Creek.
Right.
And as an environmental scientist, the whole reason why I got into this field was because what can we do to help mitigate the impacts of climate change and reduce our, carbon footprint? And I'll give tons of credit to, the Sheriff's Department for helping get people out, and to all the efforts that went into saving lives. But people are still waiting to get their permits so they can start rebuilding.
Absolutely.
And for me, it's like, this is something that we need to put as a priority when we're thinking about the impacts of climate change, how that's going to impact water, fire, drought. We really need to be taking all of this into account. And that's something that I feel like I have professional skills and a lot of knowledge that can, be applied to those.
Well, I think also too, Santa Cruz is probably one of the slowest permits in the country.
Well,
Overall,
I drove
to get a building permit in
I
this
was up
county,
there. Yeah.
it's impossible.
I was up there in Bonnie Doon. I went from Boulder Creek to Bonnie Doon down to Highway 1, Highway 1 north to Hoffman Bay. There's a lot of building going on up there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of building going on
Well,
up there. There
yeah.
is some, it's not like our thing's failing there. There's some success because there's houses being built up there.
Well, I think
But
a big problem is people.
we got to worry about fires from other, in general, whether it be there was a past fire, but no future fires, maybe Nicey Marks, that side of town coming up. You got to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
And I think that fire woke us all the hell up.
Right.
Like this was like I remember that. I never forget that night, looking out and seeing those lightning strikes. Oh, this is gonna be fucked.
Well, you
And it
got to
was.
remember. Hey, Neil, there's something you got to remember. Before we were inhabited here, there was massive forest fires, and the forests have never been more healthy.
Right.
And so it's because of we have to save structures. That's a different thought about how you forest management about saving structures. But I agree with that. I feel bad for a lot of people who don't have permits, and I know that there's people that in the same position. I hope that changes in the future. I have a question. The hardest thing you think will be, or maybe a goal as supervisor of District 3 going into it? What might be your biggest hurdle?
Biggest hurdle to overcome, or one of the things the biggest thing?
It could be what you need, want to, or what the community wants. Like, what do you think? Maybe it could be an overall of what is going to be the toughest thing.
The toughest thing for us to accomplish, I think, will be getting more beds built for mental and behavioral health. Because the number one thing that I've experienced being on city council is that when I talk to PD and when I have conversations with police around, what do you do with people when they're having mental health episodes? They're like, there's no beds. There's nowhere for people to go. If people are struggling with addiction, there's nowhere for them to go. And being an addict isn't illegal, right? And so it's like, we've moved past just putting people who are on drugs in jail, but now we have nowhere for those people to go.
Right.
And there are federal laws that need to be overcome in order for us to build more beds and get more funding. And that's something that I'm committed to working on, because in order for us to address these issues, we have to have somewhere for these people to go.
So can I just add to that?
Yeah.
When I posted tonight that you were coming on the show, and we had Chevron last night, and posted tonight that you were coming on the show, I got a lot of questions. A lot of people said you don't address the homelessness problem, and that you don't address it, and it's not something you touch on. We had a conversation before. It sounded like you did. So you want to talk about what you have in mind?
Sure.
Your ideas that you had were the first ideas seemed like, well, they're plausible. That might work.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about that?
Sure.
And then we want to talk about the top 5 things that you have that you want to take. The top 5 things.
Mm-hmm.
We got Shepard last night. Top 5 things that come to your mind that you want to kick off your campaign and get it going on.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about homelessness to start with, because it's a subject which touches all of us, and it's tough.
Yeah. And I'll say that, when I was mayor of Santa Cruz, one of the things that I was able to help accomplish, working with our city staff and working with the county, is that we were able to open the armory, right? So back in 2020, we didn't have a shelter space for people to go to that the city was running, or that was a city space. We had 1220 River Street. That got shut down right before I became mayor. That was an outdoor encampment area. The Ross camp popped up as a result of that.
Did the Ross campaign happen when you were mayor?
No.
It did not?
No, the Ross camp did not happen when I was mayor.
Okay.
That was when I was vice mayor of the city of Santa Cruz.
I thought it was when you were mayor, no?
No.
It wasn't you?
No.
Okay. All right.
I had COVID. I had social unrest after the murder of George Floyd. I had CZU fires happen when I was mayor, but the Ross camp did not happen.
Did you ever have a moment and you're like, fuck me? Who decided to deal me this hand? That's like playing poker and just getting like the worst hand.
You know, there was one day, I will say, when I was sitting in my buddy's backyard, and we had just, because I work up at UCSC in a drone program, and as we were talking about, one of the things we can do afterwards is potentially go and survey these areas with drones after the fires, and it clicked. I was like, we have to go to campus and go get the drones. And so we went to campus, we got the drones, we put them down in the trailer. I was in my buddy's backyard. It's raining ash. And my buddy was like, so is this what you signed up for? And I just looked at him.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And was just like, we're just going to keep going. We're going to keep moving forward.
How you feel? I mean, because you've knocked some hurdles down.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you got to try hard. You did. But how you feel now?
I feel great. I think that, being mayor of Santa Cruz during 2020 was probably one of the, when I look back on my life, was one of the best accomplishments I've ever had, because, we were able to stay safe. We were able to reopen more quickly. We had very low loss of life from COVID. We made it through George Floyd with minimal damage and with a lot of people coming together. We've seen like a more vibrant Black community, which, having been here for 15 years, people were like, oh, there's only 2 of you around. And I think now
Can I say one thing, Neil?
Yeah.
You kind of went viral during the George Floyd thing.
because of the-
I mean, you with Andy Mills took a knee. That went viral. Did you get phone calls from all over the country? Like, I saw you.
World.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had folks from Germany reaching out, trying to do interviews. England. It was on the cover of the New York Times. Then, when you turn on like NBC national news and your face pops up, it's like, I was not expecting.
What was going through your head? Like, what big decision? Drop onto a knee during a protest like that? Did you just said, nope, I'm doing it?
No,
He's a guy you can ask a lot of questions to, because he's a different color than you and I are, right? And he's different shape and size, and he's good. He grew up in Chicago. He's here, and there's a lot of questions you can ask the guy.
Yeah.
Which is the question I asked when I first met him. That one, I never forget that. I'm in a house at Christmas time. It's pouring rain. I'm in a house full of white people. Right? Right? And I'm like, we still had the show going on. We were doing the show at the time. I'm like, who is the black dude? Right? Wasn't like, why the hell are you here? But who's the black dude? Right?
Was that Bob Pearson's birthday?
Yeah, Bob Pearson was there.
Christmas party or something?
Bob
What was
doesn't
that?
care, right? Bob doesn't give a shit. But I think Bob, I was talking to Bob, who's the black guy? He's the next mayor of Santa Cruz. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, like, but
Well done.
obviously you're like, dude, to do that job, as a black person in a white person's town here in Santa Cruz, California, that took a lot of balls. I think, this guy's going to last 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, maybe an hour tops. And you know what? He's still standing right here on our show.
I'm right.
He's Supervisor right now.
That was like probably 8 years ago.
No, it was
5 years ago.
It was December 2019.
December 2019, and he's still here. So you know what? That tells you a lot, because I think you've a lot's bounced off that chest.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
So you've been during your campaign though. Has there been moments where you're like, maybe, what have I got myself into? Has there been a moment?
Sure.
No.
Not yet.
No.
All positive so far.
Not a single moment's gone by when I've thought to myself, why am I doing this?
I'm going to ask you: has the race car been pulled? Has the race car been pulled on you at any point? Do you think, or have you thought about it? Have you been? Has it gone in your ear and went out at all?
I think the only thing I think that's ever come up, I mean, for me personally, no.
Right.
But I think that there are people who have questioned, they're like, well, you've done really well you did really well as a mayor. You've been on council 4 years. Like, you have a PhD. I don't understand why people wouldn't want to vote for you.
Right.
Right. Like,
Right.
The last time we had a mayor who dealt with like such level of crisis that we've dealt with was Marty Wormhout back during the 1989 earthquake.
Right.
And she, after that,
I'm going to put in word for Hillary Bryant, who dealt with when the two officers got shot.
Sure, and not to diminish that at all, but the reason why I brought up Marty was, we had an earthquake, and then she was mayor, ran for county supervisor, right, shortly after, and she won, and she had opposition when she ran as well. And mayors have had, since then, a lot of different levels of crisis, including Hillary when we lost the two officers.
Yeah,
for sure.
Right.
And people would, I think, see her as someone like, yes, that would make a great county supervisor, right? Having dealt with crisis. And so I think that people have come to me and really been questioning, like, well, you've been on city council for 4 years. You've been the mayor. You've been the vice mayor. You've done the work. Why wouldn't somebody vote for you? And so that's where I feel like some people might be questioning, like, are other people's intentions because you're black and maybe that's not why, or because you're a man and that's not why.
Yeah.
But, I think that at the end of the day, I'm just going to keep running a really strong campaign and trying to let people know, like, here's what I stand for, here's who I am, and here's why you should vote for me.
Top 5 things you want to work on are?
Okay.
Top 5. Number 1.
Top 5.
We're getting through 5 tonight.
You get through 5.
You got to have 5. Number 1.
All right. 24/7 non-law enforcement mental health crisis response.
Non-law enforcement.
Right. So people have been saying this since I was mayor in 2020, that we have mental health liaisons that go out with the officers already. They want to see those programs expanded upon, and they want to see more mental and behavioral health people out responding to calls that aren't crimes. Right. So that's 1. 2, increasing the percentage of affordable housing in new developments from 15% to 20%.
Do we have the room? I mean, it seems like there's no room to build anything anymore. It seems like it's just, if we have the room, can we do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
We
So,
did it.
so what you mean is, like, if there's a new development, maybe a apartment building or something downtown, that 20% is that affordable, 20% below market or whatever it is, right?
20% of the units must be
Below affordable.
like very low or low income people.
Okay.
Number
And normally, you know what that means, is that you have to add some units to make that affordable for the developer.
Well,
that's
here's the thing. Here's the thing, though, is that I'm not opposed to us increasing the amount of units. We just need to make sure we're building the affordable housing we say we want.
Exactly.
Right. And we have Section 8 as a federal a program that will federally subsidize the cost of those units.
How about ADUs?
Hang on, how are we going to do? We're getting off subject. We're going to go.
That kind of falls into that, right?
I can move into another one because actually somebody reached out to me recently and they asked, how do you feel about removing the owner occupancy if you want to like rent out an ADU and rent out the house? And I'm for that, so long as we figure out a way to make it so that if you've owned your house for 30 years and it's paid off and now you want to move out of the house and go somewhere else and rent the house out and the ADU, we need to make that affordable.
Yeah.
We need to make that affordable for other people.
And do that, but does the owner want to make that affordable?
Well,
Doesn't the owner want top dollar for that?
We have to work that out, right? If we need more affordable housing,
I mean, to work that out. I mean, if his house is paid off in Capitol, let's just say, he's gonna want top dollar for that. No, he's not. Is he gonna give it away half price because?
No, I don't want to rent my house. I want to have somebody live on my property with me. I want to share my property.
Okay.
That's what I want to do.
Well, but here's the other piece to that, right? Let's say you have an ADU and you're renting it out and you live in that because you have to live on site. You live in the house, somebody lives in the back. You got 4 bedrooms in your house and you're like, man, I really don't want to have roommates, but I wouldn't mind renting this out, right? And let's say that you could, if you kept it, no. Let's say that if you kept that house affordable, which means you could rent each of those rooms in that house out for, let's say, $1,000. And you can still rent the ADU out. You're automatically now getting another $4,000 a month.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That right now, and sadly, like $1,000 a month for a lot of people is becoming affordable.
I like the creativity. I think that's the future of our community because we can't just keep. There's no more dirt.
No.
So we got to work with the dirt we have.
Right.
And if we're going to continue to grow because we are paradise and the entire planet knows it, they're going to come. They're going to be either sleeping in the park in their RVs or they're going to be able to rent homes, but they're coming. We can't keep them out. So we have to have housing.
Right.
Is that number 3? Are we on number 3?
That's 2.5. So number 3?
Number three.
Yeah, number
Number
3.
three.
That was 2.5
Okay.
because we combined that.
Okay. So that's 2.5. Then number 3,
Yeah.
CZU fires, making sure that we can look at how we can make the permitting process go more quickly to get people to rebuild. And up there as well, we need to really focus on communication.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the permit thing that's really sad is because CZU burned down a lot of structures that had been up there for 50 years and didn't have a permit.
Right. Yeah, I know.
And then it can't rebuild. And I have a friend who
have
is
friends.
so sad because of that. And I feel like that's a big part of what needs to be done.
There should be some leeway.
4.
Number 4, infrastructure along the North Coast for visitors. So there's the
So aren't
Catoni.
we doing the national park up there?
Right, so the Catoni Coast Dairies National Monument.
Yeah.
There's been a group that's been up there that's really trying to move the entrance to another spot that's adjacent that's much more conducive for traffic.
Yeah.
And there's another group where they were trying to put the corridor for getting up to parking through agricultural fields.
Yeah.
The people who own the fields are like, we don't want that.
Right.
So they're trying to redirect that. And so working with those folks to see if we can make that happen. In addition to that, we've been seeing increased tourism on the North Coast.
Yeah.
And we don't have trash facilities. We don't have really great parking. And we don't have bathrooms. And that's something we
And
need.
security.
And security. Right.
Yeah.
So focusing on infrastructure along the North Coast is something that's really critical for us to engage in. It's an environmental issue. It's a public safety issue. It's something that we really need to address.
And I'll just tell you, as a business owner that relies on tourism, the $6 and $7 a gallon gas hasn't helped.
Oh, right.
Tourism is down 20, possibly 30% right now in Santa Cruz. Those numbers will come out later for statistics, but as a business owner, I see how many fewer people are walking in the door. There's open parking spaces in Pleasure Point, which is unheard of. So that's something that's really important. And having something like a national monument that you can promote, some locals might not like that, but as a business owner, we need tourism.
Can I ask you as a...
Oh, 5.
Number 5?
Yep,
Yeah.
some 5.
Five.
Can I do 5 in a layup?
Yeah.
Sure.
Five.
All right.
Absolutely.
So 5, making sure that we are funding social programs in the community that have a historical legacy of doing good work. We
Like,
saw
for example?
Planned Parenthood this year got
Yeah.
major cuts to funding.
Ah.
We saw senior programs that are ran by Community Bridges, huge cuts to funding. These are organizations that have a long history of doing good work in our community. Why are we cutting their funding to make way for new programs? I understand that there are new programs that are out there that need funding and that we need to support. But at the same time, if you have programs that have been around for 20, 30 plus years that have a demonstrated record of success, why would you cut their funding?
Can I
to make
ask
way
who
for
took Planned Parenthood's money?
City and the county?
Really?
Yeah. So as on the city council, when this came to us as part of the core funding process, there were cuts to a number of these different organizations. And I said, absolutely not. I made a motion to maintain those funds for a year as we continue to look for more funding.
Yeah.
And Sandy Brown and I moved that motion forward to try to extend that funding for a year. The rest of the council majority, including my opponent, voted against it. What they did support was 3 months of bridge funding, and for me, it's like 3 months of bridge funding for these organizations does nothing.
Wow.
Can I go with number 6? Which
Let's
I
go.
want to go along
Well,
with you.
Are you throwing 6 in or are we doing the
No,
rebound?
I'm going number 6. Give a layup.
I have a layup.
The rebound's like this one. Though.
Go layup.
Yeah.
The layup is working on promoting and expanding sustainable organic agriculture in Santa Cruz County. And to speak to that, there's been a lot of attention now drawn to the fact that there are pesticides that are being used in certain fields down in South County that are drifting into classrooms, and there's an issue around public health, around children being exposed to pesticides. As you all know, and maybe people don't know online, but I work with drones.
Yeah.
And one of the applications of drones now is that rather than having crop dusters just dust an entire field, you can use drones to fly, see where there's problematic areas for whether it's, an insect or a fungus, and you can spot apply pesticides.
Yeah.
The future of pharmaceuticals right there.
Yeah.
Don't heal the whole body, heal the wound.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going number 6. Today we had an incident, a large incident at Santa Cruz City at
Santa Cruz High.
Santa Cruz High School, which was a hoax. But I did have a conversation we talked about last night. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who's a sheriff. He's high up in the sheriff's department, and I had a conversation with him a couple weeks ago about there in every high school there is a kid with a gun. In every high school in Santa Cruz, there is a kid with a gun. He used to work in the jail system, and that's another fucking disaster. But talking about,
So you're saying every day in Santa Cruz,
I'm talking about schools,
there's a kid with a gun.
In high school, there's a kid with a gun. What can we do? You can't do it. You can't obviously try and inspect or every kid that comes to school. But what can we do to make our schools safer and not end up with some disaster that you hear in Texas or on the East Coast? That there's just so like we think about it, we worry about it, we think about it, but then it's history. But now if it happens in our front yard, it'd just be devastating. So what are we doing as far as safety in schools here in Santa Cruz County? Or what would you like to do?
That's a great question, and something that I think is really important is really teaching kids self-defense. Because the reason why you carry a gun is because you're afraid, right? Like, if you aren't able to defend yourself,
afraid or peer pressure,
or peer pressure,
right,
sure,
right.
You know, but we have to create cultures around self-defense, being able to like disagree and still be able to like, you know, have a relationship with someone. You know, I mean, I think that's something that's really missing from our community. We've seen it since I've been in office, you know, whether it was the recall or whether it's, you know, the way people behave online. COVID is a great example when we had the anti-maskers versus maskers, pro-vax, anti-vax, and people just really getting into like, serious arguments over something that it's one thing that you disagree on, but everything else you'd be okay
You
with.
had that last day when somebody caught you. They cut you.
Of course. What happened yesterday?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They cut you off in the freeway. Somebody cut somebody off in the freeway and
They
called
called me. Yeah. No, because they had a... No, he's out of his mind. The true story was, I got a call yesterday on the phone. One of your employees cut me off on the highway and they're harassing me. How do you know? They had a boardroom license plate frame on their car.
Right?
And I was like, well...
But people
I just want to let you know we've given away 19,000 license plate frames. So, did you get a license plate number? No. I just assumed they worked for you.
Everyone seems like nowadays has that tail that feathers up and ready to.
Well,
right?
it's okay
Right?
to be a bully. So I mean, and I agree. I feel like sort of the more important part about that, what you were saying is, continuing to educate how to protect yourself in situations that possibly you can be harmed.
Right.
And the school's important as well.
Right.
Like today's incident, can we take that? Can they? Do you think schools or the city council or whoever will take that incident and go, okay, this is what happened today. This is how it was managed by a police department. How can we make things better? Are they actually going to try and make things?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope so, but I think so.
Right.
And then, I mean, and I'll just mention that, you know, like I went to high school in Chicago.
Yeah.
I went to Chicago public schools. We had metal detectors in my schools.
Yeah.
We had cops in our schools. We had security guards.
But there was a black and white, it was both black and white presence, right, in the school when you went to school?
It was predominantly black, Latino,
Okay.
very
Okay.
small, like 10% white, probably.
Okay.
And most of the violence was amongst gangs. There were shootings and stabbings at my school that happened, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, mostly gang related. But, you know, when you say that figure of, you know, there's at least one person in the school with a gun at any point in time, I wouldn't put it past it.
Just go back to Chicago once in a while and go, hey, I'm the mayor.
I know, it's almost like you need a Lincoln.
Dude, I'm the mayor.
Just like,
Right? Are you strutting your shit when you go back there?
My friends do it for me.
yeah, that's so awesome. Hey, mayor status is a cool one, though. In my opinion, there's like sheriff
you want to be mayor,
and mayor.
TC, you want your business card, you want mayor or you want supervisor?
You know, one day my brother goes, hey, TC, you're the mayor of Pleasure Point. I laughed so hard, and that's all I needed. It was right there. I was like, hey, bro,
Yeah.
you finished my deal. But let's go back to it. You're public. You probably have had, like, you've seen a post that was negative. Does it affect you when there's negative? Is it water off the duck's back? Because I lay in bed at night sometimes, and I'm like, wow, this happened.
I think it depends. If it's a critique or criticism of a decision that I made, then I think about it. If it's something that's malicious, Say it to my face.
Right.
Come at let's sit down and talk about it.
Right.
You know, because people.
Well, it's like the thing when your sign was stolen on Westcliff.
Yeah.
You took the high road.
Yeah.
Right? You didn't go, oh, I think it was so and so. I think it was so and so. You're like, okay, you do this. We're going to be higher than you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You know, right?
Yeah. And
what else can you do?
no, like that's the thing for me. It's like somebody did this, and we're gonna put it out there that you think you just stolen our sign and are trying to like keep our message from getting heard.
Right.
You go low, we're gonna go high.
TC, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If he wins, can we get him a new skateboard? Can I chip in? Can I chip in? Can I pay for half of the skateboard you buy?
Well,
Can
and
we
you
chip
are,
in?
I think, currently the only political person in Santa Cruz County that skateboards.
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
just going to say straight up.
I'm gonna drop in.
Do you
too.
know of anybody in public service
No.
that skateboards right now?
I don't think so.
Maybe Kristen Peterson. Maybe.
Okay, well,
maybe.
maybe, okay.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I like that. And I will say, we had Chevron. I don't know if she skateboards, but if the winner of this
Gets a
election
skateboard.
gets a skateboard, that's what
yeah,
I'll do. Yeah, I'm throwing that out right now.
Okay, my other question. He gets out of bed every day and he's going to go. He runs a skateboard shop, so he gets out of bed going, I'm a happy dude. I can check the surf. He goes to have coffee in the morning. I see
Yeah.
Lauren.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's
checking
awesome.
the surf
Yeah.
every day.
I love it.
You know, he's a happy guy. I'm a happy guy, but I do. Can you be a happy guy being a supervisor? And you're like, oh, is this going to be like a fucking 4-year grind? Do you think you can be happy doing what you're going to be doing?
I think I'll be very happy.
Oh, you should. Yeah.
Because I mean, like right now, I have, I have a job at the university. I have another on-call job with an environmental consulting firm here. I have the city council, and I'm running for office.
You're busy.
So I have 4 jobs.
So whether you win or lose, you're good, right?
But I'm going to win, so I'll be.
But let me ask you this question: if you do lose, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, you're
congratulations,
fine. Yeah.
congratulations to the winner.
Yeah.
And you're going to get on with your life and still
Yeah.
going to be able to come on this show and have a good time.
If I'm still in Santa Cruz.
Yes, you will be.
Yeah. Well, you're a hustler.
so.
I know you'll be
You will
good.
Yeah.
'Cause you're good, you should be because you're good. Whether you win or lose, you're an asset to the community, and the community needs you.
Well, you've been in public service now for a few years.
Yeah.
Is this like a thing for you to give back and continue?
I mean, like, I think that even just becoming a biologist, right? Like, wanting to protect the environment, that's already public
And
service because
that's-
biologists
yeah.
are paid.
Serve and protect.
They're not paid very well.
Right, yeah,
But
yeah, I get
the
it.
people who care, which is sad because, our environment is the one thing that we have to maintain.
Right.
And yet at the same time, biologists are like some of the worst paid jobs. Right. And I did that because I want to protect the planet.
And the poor environment, because the companies that are destroying it do not want to save it.
No.
It's like they're like,
Yeah, and they make the most, and that's the thing. It's sad that the people who profit the most off of killing our environment, the people who kill our environment profit the most versus those who actually protect it. And I went into protection because I care about the environment. I want to make sure that people have clean places to surf, that we have places where we can go hike, that people can enjoy the natural beauty that we have, especially here in Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
And Neil,
Yeah.
election night, we're gonna come to we're hitting the party tour. So
We're going
first
to
off, are you
Parish.
gonna have appetizers? That's
We're going to Parish. That's where
Oh,
Mr.
the parish.
is.
That's where you're gonna end up.
I think we're gonna start off at SCIU Union Hall, as we have. I got their endorsement, and that's where we were last time. And then when we, after the votes come in and the polls close, and we get the first few announcements, I think we're gonna then migrate over to the parish.
All right.
JustinCummings.com. What's your website?
It's CummingsForSupervisor.com.
Okay.
Last day to register to vote and to vote is November 8th. And so I hope I can count on your vote out there.
Okay.
But if we're gonna get ready to go, I have presents.
No.
Well,
your
before
president-
the presents, to viewers, why should they vote for you? I mean, let's give them take whatever you need, but like what? Why?
Well, first of all, I've spent the last 4 years of my life dedicated to serving and being committed to the Santa Cruz City Council. I've served as mayor of Santa Cruz during one of the biggest years of crisis as we dealt with the onset of COVID. We dealt with the murder of George Floyd. We dealt with the CZU fires. And one of the things that I was really focused on during that time was really bringing people together and making sure we came up with solutions to the various problems that we were facing at that time.
So you did have large problems to deal with.
Yeah.
Big problems.
Yeah. And I helped double.
Because we're a small city with big city problems.
Right. Yep.
Right? Aren't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, we stood up more homeless shelters during that time than ever before in the history of the city of Santa Cruz. We doubled, and I had a major role in this, working with UCSC professors to help us double COVID testing capacity for the entire county, which then allowed us to reopen more quickly.
Yeah.
During CZU fires, really helped to get information out to people so that, people who are like, they're evacuating the west side. No, they're not. Here's where you go for information. Here's where you get accurate information. But, in addition to all that, I think that Santa Cruz has meant, a lot of people in Santa Cruz feel like, representation matters, right? And as a renter, I feel like we need somebody on the board who's going to actually say what it's like to be a renter and really push for those kinds of protections for programs because of the fact that, 56% of the people who live in this county are renters, and we're constantly getting pushed out.
Yeah.
We really need to make sure that we have people who are going to stand up for our workers. Santa Cruz just had its first strike, and the workers
with the garbage company.
With SCIU, the workers. So that was garbage, Parks and Rec.
Right.
It was a lot of city services, and the workers.
That got sold quickly, didn't it? It seemed like
it seemed quickly.
It looked like it was going to be ugly, but
it
did not get sold quickly.
But because it got to that point, that was ugly enough, and the workers felt like I had their backs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's something that's really important, that we make sure that our workers feel like they can, rely on local government, the people making decisions, to really stand up for them.
I know you can't change. You can't have you don't have a wand, a magic wand. You can change anything in 5 years. But what in 5 years' time? What do you want to look back at and say, I got that done, and just two things. Got that done, and I got that done. Two things that you can check off your list. The other 10 things, I'm working on them, but I got these two things done.
Well, increasing the amount of affordable housing in new developments, whether that's 20% or 25%, that is something that I'm aiming to accomplish very quickly. And then the 24/7, three things. 24/7 mental health crisis response, as I mentioned before.
Yeah.
Getting that program up and running. And I think the third thing would be having a really robust fire mitigation and management program, because this isn't the last time we're going to see a major fire in Santa Cruz. And what we saw in 2020 was that CAL FIRE was stretched very thin. They needed bodies. They needed people to fight. And there are plenty of people who want to. There's plenty of people who want to fight.
Who are you going to help with that? Like Laura Lee or some other people that who are you going to help with that?
I'm going to reach out to the community and the people who've been working in this. I know plenty of people up in Bonnie Doon who are like, we want to have, more access to being able to fight fires as volunteers. Well, let's bring CAL FIRE together. Let's bring the community together. Let's bring our elected officials up there, and let's sit down and have these conversations. People like Laura Lee Martin and other people who have been in elected positions.
Right.
Whether that's Sam Farr, who I've got his endorsement, whether that's Ryan Coonerty, who I've worked with as mayor and as vice mayor. Bringing people together who have experience in this community, and really figuring out how can we make these kinds of things happen.
Another question for you.
Sure.
This is very difficult. This is a tough question. It's going to be a bit of a grind.
Tough question.
I'm looking to your eye right now. I'm looking to your eye. Top 3 bands that you want to listen to when you're a fucking supervisor.
Oh, is this a dream?
Top
concert?
3 bands.
Is it a dream
you want to be
concert?
the Catalyst or wherever in Santa Cruz County you listen to when you're supervisor. I had a supervisor. I'm getting it for free. Top 3 bands. Who do you want to see?
Oh man. Fish.
Fish.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I like the Fish. Yeah.
Fish of the Catalyst.
Wu-Tang.
Okay.
Oh.
Wu-Tang.
And then I'd say Manu Chao.
There it is, right there.
That's gonna be all right on election night when we go to the party and we have poo-poos there. Then maybe
I'm bringing
cocktails?
I'm bringing Jeff Weir.
Oh, is Jeff going on tour? We should ask
Jeff's
Jeff.
coming on tour.
He might.
Well, you know what, if I had to say local band, Space Heater for sure.
Space Heater.
Space Heaters?
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Expendables maybe too. I don't know.
So for the next couple days, 11 I think, we till election. What are you doing?
I'm going to be out knocking on doors like crazy, talking to voters, We're going to be doing lit drops and out of the SEIU Union Hall on Saturdays. We're going to start at 9 a.m. on Saturday, 3 p.m. on Sundays. Phone banking. We're going to be text banking and seeing the response we're getting from voters. I will say that from the text banking we have done, we've had about 2-to-1 yes on Justin.
Oh, okay.
Most people just say stop.
If somebody wants to call you, or I don't want your personal cell phone, but like if someone reaches out, can they talk to you?
Yeah.
You're ready?
So
yeah.
Here we go here.
And so one of the things, we have our flyers that we're dropping on people's doors. One thing I will point out is we've got, I think, over 25 organizations who've endorsed us.
Okay.
And so you can see that
so this is the flyer.
on the
All right,
flyers.
all right, all right.
But,
all right.
Let's show it off.
The email is Cummings4 supervisor@gmail.com. Phone number is 831-291-3507.
TC, can you see on the other side of that picture the suit and the hairdo and the suit?
I'm telling you, fresh. You know what?
How
You have a stylist? Do you have a team? Who's your team? You have somebody.
Yeah, give us your team because you're not doing this by yourself. Who's your team?
We'll talk about that when the time comes.
Who's your team? Who's helping you right now?
Somebody's got to be. You have to have a number one.
My campaign manager is
who are they?
Celeste Gutierrez.
Oh,
she's amazing.
You want to tell her thanks?
She's
Thank
a
you.
ballbuster.
Yeah, right. I mean, it takes a team, right?
So much.
Okay, I got it. So this is hey, that suit's badass.
That's badass suit right
You still have that? Is that yours? You got that?
yeah.
One handsome looking dude right there. He's one handsome devil.
So we're dressing up on election night.
We are.
We're getting an Uber,
All
and
right.
we're gonna be. So when we go to the parish, we're gonna be dressed up.
Yeah.
Will you be dressed up?
No.
I will probably be wearing something like this because I will have been out knocking on doors, talking to voters the entire day.
Can we make you dress up just for us?
No.
Can we after the? You know, you can knock on doors.
No.
In the
You don't
back
do it.
seat on the hanger, you got that thing all in the suits.
We'll see how it goes, but
Yeah.
I might be kind of sweaty by then.
Yeah, he'll be no. It's just we'll take him as he comes. We'll take whoever wins. We'll take him as they come.
That's true.
Okay.
And we're hitting every party.
Hit every party.
Yeah.
Fuck
So
it.
anybody who's watching,
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Wish you
Thanks
the
for
best of
having me.
luck.
Thank
Very,
you.
very welcome.
Justin, I will say,
Fun.
and I say this: the people who try win.
Yeah.
And if there's a message I can give you, Neil, our community, try.
Yeah. Get out there and vote.
Please vote. That's
Wait, and
yes.
I got one thing for
Hang
you
on.
guys.
We got swag coming up.
Swaggy.
Yeah, swag.
I know you guys are oftentimes the ones who are giving
Oh
out,
yeah, we got
giving out the
the.
swag, but
Yeah.
for you guys, we got.
By the way,
I'm wearing this tomorrow.
I saw the trees on your shirt and I was like, those trees are cool. Yeah, I am. That's amazing. Justin Cummings, one more time. Social media, if somebody wants to see what you're all about.
They can visit website cummingsforsupervisor.com or on Instagram or Facebook at Cummings4Supervisor, all spelled out one word.
Good job.
Congrats. Yeah, great show.
Thank you.
Best of luck. Win, lose, or draw. We're coming for poo-poos at the party. You.